Thanks, Austin. It's nice to be back in Westphalia. Yeah, you probably recognize the Pohl last name. I did grow up here. I have not been here for, I think it's 27 years. Who do I pick on to find out like exactly how long? Aaron would know, right? Because you're like 1 year older than me, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Well, I'm so happy to be back here. I live out in Rockford, Michigan, Grand Rapids area. I am a husband of almost 22 years. I have 4 kids, 20 years old, all the way down to 6. Yeah, kind of a gap there, so we're kind of experiencing a range of things. Let's see, I have family in the area, right? Yeah, there we go. A couple of family, but back in the day, in this very building, I used to go to classes and stuff like this. We used to call it CCD. Does anybody know what that even means? Yeah, what does CCD mean? Anybody? Yeah, no. We just said we're going to CCD, so you didn't have a cool name for stuff like the well. So I'm here to talk about something I'm very passionate about. I'm here to talk about work and careers and just trying to understand and develop our Catholic perspective, because it's one of the most important things that all of us have to make a decision and pray about and make a decision about for our lives. It's going to make a big determining factor on just how it ends. You know, when you think about death a lot, like when you're like 75, 80, 90 years old and you're looking back and you go, what did my life mean? You know, work matters, our career matters, and God cares about our career. And so I'm here to kind of talk about that. I've maybe why? Because I've done a lot of different things. So I worked on a farm here in the Westphalia area over Spalding Road. Jim Stump. I don't know if anybody is from that area over there, but I worked on that farm years ago. I was a machinist. I worked in the factory. Worked as a machinist, went through a full apprenticeship program, and then I became a teacher. And then I became a manager of a manufacturing company. And then I started a business. And then I started another business. And then I started another business. I'm on my 3rd business. And I've been in this one for 10 years. Where I do industrial training. So I get to get out and I get to talk to a lot of different people and see a lot of different things, a lot of different perspectives. And I run into this a lot about just people really at war with work. Like, at war with it. Like, I think Austin kind of mentioned it, like, we all kind of know somebody who hates their job, right? We have and maybe some of you all are starting to go, man, what am I going to do with my life? I don't want to get stuck in that situation where I just hate my job or that type of stuff. And we don't have to be at war with it, because the church and Jesus Christ has a great message for us. And that's what I'm kind of here to talk about. The other thing that I did, and maybe you've heard of it, is I helped co-found a we like to call it the first Catholic post-secondary, so college-level trade school in North America, called Harmel Academy of the Trades. So I'll tell you a little bit about that when towards the end of the presentation. But any questions? This can be pretty open here. Like, I can pass the mic around. I'm not used to talking to a mic quite like this, but any questions on my background? But anyways, I was sitting in your seat, almost 30 years ago. So here we go. All right, so I got to keep this close to my mouth. Helps if you turn your mouse on too. All right, does Jesus and the church care about your career? I already gave the answer, right? Jesus cares about everything. He cares about everything that we're working on, everything every aspect of our life. And it's one of the beautiful things about being Catholic is, the church has been around for so long that she has developed a type of wisdom that she gets to share with us to help us relate to modern challenges. Okay, and one of the ways that she helps us do this is she provides us something called Catholic social teaching. You get extra points for the night if you've ever heard of this. Has anybody ever heard of Catholic social teaching? Joe's shaking his head. So yeah, Catholic social teaching. This is when the bishops and the popes and theologians and philosophers, they get together and they say, look, Jesus Christ is relevant today. And how do we teach our people about the ways that he is relevant in this modern world? And out of Catholic social teaching, this is an amazing date because a very important document came out from the Vatican today that we'll talk about in a second. Only comes out a couple times a year that talks specifically about what we're talking about. And I think every young person should take an interest in what the church says about Catholic social teaching. What are the main themes that we're talking about with Catholic social teaching? So The church talks about, Jesus is relevant in today's world, and here are the ways that we as a church can bring Christ to people through our deeper understanding of these different things. So life and dignity of the human person. So we're all very pro-life, right? This is where the church talks about our response to these life issues, right? The call to family, community, and participation. Rights and responsibilities that we have as Christians. The option for the poor and the vulnerable. The poor, Jesus always said, the poor will always be with us. How do we interact with the poor in this modern economy? The dignity of work and the rights of the workers. Something called solidarity. How do we work together as a community, as groups of people to bring Christ to the world? And a care for God's creation. So these are the 7 major themes right from the USCCB. Tonight, obviously, we're going to be talking about the dignity of work and the rights of workers, because this matters to all of us. In fact, St. John Paul II, in one of his major encyclicals, which, does everybody know what an encyclical is? Anybody? All right, more homework. So the encyclical Laborum Exertion, where he just basically said, look, through work, it was his meditation on how do we find Christ in our work? How do we bring Christ to the world through our work? This document, for the last 20 years, I would say, I absolutely changed my life. And I was a machinist, and I was really struggling because I had gone to college. I went to Ferris, and I'd gotten a bachelor's degree. And but I needed to get some hours in the shop because I was going to be a teacher. And I ran into a problem because I went to be a machinist, and I loved the work. But I listened to the world that was saying, look, you got a bachelor's degree, man. You don't have to work on the shop floor, right? Like, get out of there, man. Go be a teacher. That's where you'll be happy. And so I listened to that sort of worldly narrative of like, don't work in a factory. Go be the teacher. Use your bachelor's degree. And so I did that. And guess what? I was unhappy. I didn't like it. I didn't like that world, and I felt called, and it was my wife who introduced me to this because she went to the University of Steubenville and she knew about Laborum Exertions. She said, hey, read this. This might help you in the decisions you're making, and it did because it became the theme of what I'm going to talk about tonight, is that it's not the work that matters as much as it's the worker. It's the person doing it. And if we're bringing our dignity, we bring our passion, our gifts to that work, you can be called to any number of things, and you can bring Christ to that place. And that's really what we're going to be talking about. So, Laborum Exertions, St. John Paul II, came out back in the early 80s, 100% changed my life. The basis of Laborum Exertions is that humans are the ends of work, not the means. This is a big philosophical statement, right? Like, we're the ends of work. Does anybody know what that means? How would you say that? We're the ends. I can put it to you this way. We're the ones that matter, okay? Because of our particular dignity, right? It's not the process, it's not the paycheck, it's not the product that is created. This is the human doing it that matters. And my goal for tonight is that I want every one of you to walk out of these doors and to be able to see somebody working and to see the people affected by that work. Positively, hopefully, and maybe sometimes negatively. That was what is awesome about that slideshow, is I saw a couple of you all out there, working, helping people with your labor and the joy that it brought. So you were able to bring Christ to that place through your work. We take for granted the fact that sometimes people just lose their capacity to work. And you think about those elderly people that are looking outside and going, man, I wish somebody could rake those leaves. It becomes a real anxiety because they can't do it anymore. And they're trying to take care of the things God has given them, and then you show up and you took care of it. And through your work, you brought Christ. And so it was a perfect slideshow. So, anyways, it's humans that are the ends of work, not the means. Work is a good thing for man, a good thing for his humanity. To fast forward, through our work, we can actually become more human, more like who we were created to be like. It is through our work. And so, as a person, man is therefore the subject of work. So let's use a couple of sort of philosophical terms direct from Laborum Exertions. So it says, The object of work is the product, process, outcome, or the money. I'm going to emphasize money a lot tonight because I think a lot of times we think that the only thing that we're trying to get from our work is money, right? And that really devalues us as people, as individuals, you know, and it really makes us get off track. And it really makes us, you know, feel like we're only as valuable as our paycheck, right? Or that type of thing. So the object of work is always the subject of work is always going to be the person. And so when we use the term like objectified, people must not be objectified as part of our work. How do we order ourselves to start thinking, you know, I don't want to devalue a human being to the level that they're only as valuable as the thing they create for us, right? And this is really a call from Christ, from our church, to be that witness that has the ability to look past perhaps a dirty job and see the human doing it and see the human affected by it. And so that's really what the call is. So this is what I call a little Catholic social teaching pop quiz. I'm going to put some pictures up there and you tell me which one's more valuable. That's like, what does that look like? About $1,000 maybe? $500? No, that's gonna be more. That's like $5,000 right there, probably. 5,000? Yeah, somebody's doing the math. 5,000, right? Which one's more valuable? Come on, this is a fun exercise because it's super easy, right? We know the person is more valuable, but what happens? What happens now? Hey, man, I'm gonna offer you this stack of cash if you go over and exploit this worker. If I give you this money, but it means you have to kind of work this person more than they should be worked or exploit them, you know, come on, that's a good deal, right? No, we can't do that. Not as Christians. Wait a minute. That's a lot of money. Man, we'd be set, right? This guy's not going to care, right? He's going to know. I'm going to work him. I'm just going to work him so he doesn't have the ability to see his family. I'm a business owner. I've got employees. I'm going to work my employees, because I can put that in the bank. I don't care if this guy gets to see his wife and kids, right? Why would I care about that? Because I get the money, right? No, we can't do that. Okay, what about this? I took this picture out of my storeroom in the basement. I'm just kidding, I wish. I'm afraid that it probably was a drug dealer or something. So, all that money, right? Who wants that money? Come on, yes, thank you. We have a few honest people back here. That's a lot of McChickens right there. That's really impressive. That's a lot of McChickens. Listen, if I could get my hands on that amount of money right there, I would be set for life. My family would be set for life. My kids would be set for life. That's millions and millions of dollars. We all know it, right? No big deal, right? Which one's more valuable? I think we all know when you're looking at a person, we know that that's still not worth exploiting or hurting one person just to get that pile of money. It's not worth it because that person has the dignity, right? What if we change the game? What if it's just a different person? If it's a different person, now we can do it, right? Yeah, because there's that particular person that has value, right? No. What if the person doesn't look like us? What if they don't look like us? What if they're over on the other side of the earth? What if we never have to interact with that person? Are they still more valuable than that pile of cash? This is super important for us to think about because there's future millionaires in here. I'm going to tell you that right now. There are people in here that will have a successful career, that will do something major, will impact the world in a major way. And you'll have the ability to make those decisions of how important is the money. And you'll have to step back as Catholics and you'll have to stop and go, you'll have to say, is it worth costing or burning a person out, or working them to the point. I had a business partner once. He owned the company. I was kind of a part owner, and he worked me 70 hours a week. 70 hours a week because he had invested some money, and he did not want me taking vacation. He wanted to get his money back, and I stressed. And I did this for 6.5 years. I ended up with cancer. It just, my body couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle working like that. Thank God I'm okay, right? But this is what happens to people. And people in this room will have to make those sort of decisions someday, sooner than you think. That how important are people compared to money? Groups of people that look different than us, that we may not interact with. What about poor people? I mean, are they worth that money? These are the challenging questions every Catholic has to ask themselves. Like, how many juniors and seniors? Juniors and seniors, raise your hand. There's a lot of you that are facing this question right now of what am I going to do with my career? How am I going to spend my life? And right now is the time to ask yourself, what's the most important thing? And I think that's the crux of this. So, no amount of money or power or fame or influence is more valuable than a single human being. And as Catholics, this is written into the core of our faith. And we all have to know it, and we all have to live it. We talk about the new evangelization as bringing Christ to where we are. This is how we do it. We go out. I have a career. I don't work at the church. I have a career. I go into different companies, but I'm trying to bring Christ. And by treating people with dignity and respect. Little group question for you and your groups. What is the core Christian teaching that tells us people are always more valuable than any amount of money? There is one core specific Christian teaching that I think you guys can find. Take like 3 minutes, see if you can come up with it. What is the core Christian teaching